Life is really just a string of moments that you knot together and carry with you. Wendy Mass. From a young age, I was always told everything happens for a reason. But the first time I lost someone, I asked myself, why did this happen? Why was it supposed to happen? Loss has always been something I've never understood. It was the unknown answer to all of my questions as a kid. Yet the human existence in itself is an intricate tapestry woven with the very ups and downs of our lives that shape us into who we are meant to become. As people, we are ever changing, evolving, learning, and growing each day. But loss is when finally everything stops dead in its tracks. Loss is the undeniable reality we are guaranteed to experience at least once in our lives. While it may be tempting to avoid conversations about losing someone, whether it's through a death, a breakup, an argument, or simply just growing apart, it's crucial to have these conversations to ensure that our wishes are respected, our values are upheld, and our loved ones are supported during these times. Now, I've lost many people over the course of my life. Family, friends, pets, and even significant others. Every time I lost someone, I lost a piece of myself. Year after year, I was losing someone that was important to me. I was letting the absence in their life, or in my life, dictate my worth. What was I worth without these people in my life? In my head, I wasn't worth anything. I was just a shell of who I once was, doing my very best to keep going. In my head, I knew I had to keep going, but I couldn't. I couldn't bear the thought of opening up to people, because the first time I did, I was bullied. In 2020, I experienced loss for the very first time. The death of my grandfather was very unexpected. I lashed out at those who I loved, and I distanced myself from everyone else. To this day, I don't feel like I fully coped with his loss. I swallowed my fear, and I buried my grief. I got all stuck in my head. He was the most important person to me. How was I supposed to live every day without the one person that mattered the most? How was I supposed to wake up every morning and not have him here anymore? I fell into this dark spiral. What am I worth? Is it even worth living? I can't be here anymore. I don't have him anymore. As I was spiraling out of control, I lost myself. Then, 3 years later, I lost my grandmother. Deep down, I thought the 3-year age gap would be easy, but I found myself grieving the both of them again. I hadn't grieved at all. I was right back where I started in 2020. All of those emotions came flooding back, and I hadn't grieved at all. I wasn't better than I was before, and then I asked myself again, why did this happen? Why was it supposed to happen? In my head, I didn't have any of the answers. As I spiraled out of control even more and more, my mental health started to decline even more. I thought about dying a lot more than I'd like to admit, just so I could have more time with them. If only I could just go back in the past and have them one more time, then I wouldn't have to feel this way anymore, right? If I was just gone, I could finally feel something, right? These were the questions I kept asking myself every single day. Every minute, every hour, every single day. But 2 weeks later is when my life turned upside down. It was the day one of my childhood best friends passed away from suicide. I will always remember him for being the one person that turned me around when no one else could. Believe me, they tried. They tried to put me back. They tried to put back the broken pieces, but nothing worked. But then I thought to myself, as I watched this county come together, learning how to grieve and grieving his loss, there was a heavy cloud draped over the shoulders of every teenager in this valley. Whether you knew him or not, his passing still affected you. Mental health is something that every single teenager in this valley experiences. Every teenager in the world experiences. But we are taught to keep it quiet because it's none of their business. or it's too hard to talk about. By creating this stigma, we are telling people that they are alone when we know that they're not. You will never be alone. No matter what everyone tells you, you will never be alone. There will always be someone out there with a shoulder to cry on. There will always be a shoulder to lean on, and there will always be someone out there who is willing to listen to what you have to say, because what you have to say is important. As I sat there grieving his loss, it felt like the entire world was falling apart. At the same time, I was still grieving from the past 2 losses, both of my grandparents. My world was crumbling. Everything around me was gone. What did I have now? I didn't have anything. One day, 2 days after he passed away, I sat on the phone with my best friend, telling her, I can't do this anymore, Eva. I can't be here. I don't have anything or anyone to live for. She told me something that changed my perspective forever. She told me my life is worth fighting for, that no matter what I'm going through, my life is worth fighting for. And everyone else's is worth fighting for as well. And that I wasn't alone. So now, every day, I fight to remember who I am. And I fight every day to remind everyone else around me that they are never alone either. Because if they are, then what am I doing? I'm not helping anyone. And above all, I fight for the little girl who's still deep inside my soul, who's still trying to figure herself out. This is her first time living this life too. And I will do everything in my power to never let that little girl fall down that dark hole again. Now, grief is a complex individual process. Yet, I feel the concept of the American dream is widely responsible for our society's shyness in embracing loss. From a young age, we are always told to live our lives to the fullest, to become successful, and to be someone. But loss is when everything finally stops dead in its tracks. Loss is when everything finally comes to a threshold. But through this, if we come together as a community and learn how to embrace loss, we're not only strengthening ourselves as individuals, but strengthening our trust in each other as a society. One as a generation I feel we could especially use. Now, for the people in the audience who relate to anything I've said tonight in any way, whether you've just lost someone through, again, a death, a breakup, an argument, or simply just growing apart, who feel that their life isn't worth living anymore, who feel that they are not worth it, I want to remind you, you are never alone, and you never will be alone. Your life is worth fighting for, and if you come to this realization, you're not only breaking your own barriers, but you're breaking society's barriers. You are worth so much more. You might not feel it like it right now, but trust me, you are worth everything you have coming for you. Your life is better if you stay. Now, if you're struggling to fight for yourself, I encourage you to think again and fight for everything that you've once lost. Because trust me, I know what it feels like to lose someone, especially someone you loved, and more especially when that person is yourself. But healing is a gift. So, every rose has its thorns, and so does life. But through the ups and downs that life throws at you, I want to remind you, life is really just a string of moments that you knot together and carry with you. So hold that knot with your entire heart, and don't you ever let it go. Thank you.